Hey everyone, I am Kim with Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. And I am hosting a tarot study group featuring the Herbcrafter's Tarot. And we did part one, which was the aces, twos, and threes of the swords, or the air suit or air element. And now for part two, we are going to look at the remaining elements, the fire, the water, the fire, and the earth, and through the aces, twos, and threes in this video. So settle in, sit back and enjoy, and stay tuned as we go through the aces, twos, and threes. So we are going to speed things up a bit. Please check out part one of this video, which is going into the minors, right? So in the first video I did just before I recorded it just before recording this one, we looked at the air element and we looked through the aces, twos, and threes of the air element just in one video. Today we're going to speed things up and we're going to pick and choose between the aces, twos, and threes, between the water, fire, and earth elements. There's a lot going on with all of these cards, so I encourage you to work with this deck and look at all the cards that I do cover, as well as look at the cards that I don't cover, because I'm not going to be able to individually look at all 78 cards like I would want to, just for brevity's sake, right? So let's get started. The first little batch that we're going to go over is the Ace of Water, or traditionally the Ace of Cups. So here we have the plantain for the Ace of Water. And then we have this traditional Smith-Waite. And then from the Gaian Tarot, one of my favorite decks, this is the Ace of Water. So we have this here. So we're going to talk about in terms of the water suit, we'll look at the aces, and then I'm thinking for the fire suit, we'll look at the twos, and then for the threes, we're going to go with the earth. So that's what we're going to be doing here going forward. Ace of Water. We know that aces are about new beginnings, right? And this guidebook is divided by like the aces. All the aces are here. Then we go into the twos, threes, fours, etc. And like I said, please check out part one of this video if you want a more in-depth explanation to that. So this is how the guidebook is designed and written, and this is how I've chosen now to move forward with the tarot study group. The Ace of Water, the plantain. I'm just going to dive into the guidebook for a moment. The key phrases are: follow your heart, trust your instincts in intuition, and number 3, your capacity for love is limitless. And it's the height of the summer. A gently flowing river is lined with lush vegetation. At the edge of the bank, a healthy plantain plant spreads its strong green leaves along the ground in all directions. The tiny white flower petals form the shape of a halo around each stalk. Bees are drinking water from the riverbed. The air is cool with a breeze from the glacier above. Interesting. Wow. So I'll just read a couple of sentences from the description of the card meaning in this guidebook. New experiences can cause a wellspring of feelings. Open your heart to spiritual guidance. Take a fresh look at an ancient calling of soul. Plantain is a prolific yet powerful medicine that is easily missed. To embody the love you desire, you may need to see it in a new light. Mixed with a bit of water, this unassuming weed gently heals wounds from bites and stings. A simple, compassionate approach to a surge of emotions can have the most meaning. And I'll stop there. So that is interesting. And I want to also go back to the water. So in the guidebook, it breaks it down by elements. And we have, and I apologize if you hear my husband in the background, small quarters that are starting to drive me crazy. Water, emotions, and nourish. And so here it even goes into further depth in the guidebook about the element that we're working with, you know. So I really appreciate that here. And check it out. Check that part out. I think that is important. So now, and then also check out the numbers as well. We talked at length about that in part 1. Ace of Water. So the new beginnings here, the new beginnings in matters of the heart, new beginnings in love. And sometimes, you know, the emotions just surge, and since it's new, we're not quite sure of how to channel that beautiful, loving, in watery energy. And so I love the description found in the guidebook. I'm not too familiar at all really with plantain, so I would in this case have to rely on that. So I'm going to move on, and then I'm going to just show you the cups. So we have the Two of Cups, right? So the Two of Cups with the Two of Water from the Gaian Tarot, and then we have Two of Water with mallow. That's the herb. So I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to go into depth for time's sake. And then we have the Three. So the Three of Water. The Three of Water. That's in the Herbcrafter's Tarot. Isn't that sweet? And then the Three of Cups, the traditional Smith-Waite. Okay. So now we're going to move into the Two of Fire. So do I have the Ace here, or did I move them? So I did save the Ace. I'm going to show you the Ace, but we are going to go into more depth for the Ace, or excuse me, the Two of Fire. So here is the Ace of Fire, and it's mullein. Oh, I think I've seen that before. Growing, like they said, in my old home back in the Bay Area. I kind of remember this. So it's mullein. We have the Gaian Tarot, the Ace of Fire here. And then here is it in the traditional Smith-Waite. And so there you have it. Even very much, you know, aesthetically looks like this. And yeah, we're going to move on. If you want to work more with that card, you certainly can suggest that in the Facebook group, and I might do that as a part of a daily draw pull that we're doing over there. But yeah, let's talk about, and I'll show you the Three as well after we're done with this, going into depth for the Two. So we have traditionally the Two of Wands here, and then the Gaian has Two of Fire. I love that this went in the direction of lust. Oftentimes, you know, when you see this depiction is what you get. But it also, Wands deals not just with ambitions and goals, but it also deals with that lusty emotion that you may have. And so that's why I really love the Gaian Tarot's interpretation. So I have that in the back of my mind. And then we have the Two of Fire, and then the herb that it's working with is bee balm. Bee balm. So we know a little bit about the Two of Wands. We're going to just take a look at the guidebook and see what it's telling us here. And again, like I said, don't forget to check out that part. Is it in the beginning? Yes. On page, so in this case for the, I want to say wands, but the fire, it's page 36, and the fire keywords is action and play. And fire corresponds to wands in traditional tarot decks, as we've discussed. This suit contains medicine for the body gained from playing and making. Okay, so let's go to Two of Fire. Bee Balm. So the key phrases are, number 1, harness the power of desire. Number 2, embrace creativity with confidence. And number 3, courageously step forward toward the heat. To go ahead and you know, you have 2 choices before you. Do you go the mundane route or do you go towards the passionate route? Now it's time to make a decision to move forward. What shall you do? Which direction do you go? So that's me just kind of riffing off my head. And since I don't know much about Bee Balm, I'm going to go into depth now. This is what I would do if I was just doing a tarot study by myself. I would say, okay, don't feel like going to Google. I'm going to look in this guidebook and see if it gives me enough to jog some of my own interpretations and own meanings to assign to it. So we have a hat rests on a stone potting table. Bee balm plants grown from seed are ready to be transferred to the garden. Tools and gloves are gathered in preparation for planting. The pungent smell of the leaves and the vibrant color of the flaming red flowers set the bees a-buzzing. And then let's see. An empowered, bright spirit inspires others. Bee balm brings bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds to the garden. Planting bee balm stirs activity in the area, igniting growth by shaping a diverse ecosystem. When making decisions, take a creative approach. Be original and open to alternative ideas. Spicy bee balm remedies heal with a kick. Walk with flames of passion under your feet. Though excitement and fear may charge your actions, be confident about what must be done. Like these striking flowers, we attract what we desire when we show our bold, colorful selves. So you see that here in the depiction. And so I don't I don't know much about bee balm other than what I just read there. But when you look at your favorite decks alongside the bee balm, you can visually see how it may show up in a question in a reading. And you can see how the answers just come up intuitively. You can even, gather that from the red leaves here that you see. The sun in the corner, That's interesting. Very interesting. And I'll just briefly show you the 3 of Fire. So here's the 3 of Fire. Calendula is the herb. That is the herb that is, I think, featured on the cover of the book, or the cover on the book. No, cover of the box. Let me show you that again. I don't have the box here with me, but I do know that that's on the cover. Here's the traditional Centennial Waite or Smith-Waite deck. 3 of Wands and then 3 of Fire in the Gaian Tarot. So you have even the colors, the warm, bright, for me, springtime colors. In terms of timing, the Wands or Fire suit represents the season of spring. Many tarot readers have different associations for seasons in terms of timing. But for me, I always associate the Fire or Wands suit to the spring and then the timing of weeks. So when I see these vibrant colors even, that speaks to me of a very warm time. Spring for me is what I get. I'm not going to go much further into the 3 of fire or Three of Wands, but I hope you're catching the drift now of taking the cards that you have and spreading them out, and then having your trusty handy guidebook here. Is the website to TheHerbcrafter'sTarot.com. Shout out to a special person. Actually, I was like, oh, I was going to share, but I don't even know if that's okay. So I won't, but I will say one of my fave peoples recommended it in our Facebook group to go to the website of this deck, and there's a lot of good resources there. But if you own the deck, this is a fabulous resource as well in terms of working with it. Okay, so now we're going to go into the Earth suit, and I'll just show you initially, because we're going to talk about the Three of Earth more in depth. That's the one that we're going to go into, and I'm excited about that one. But I want to show you the first two. The Ace of Earth is Nettle. Isn't that gorgeous? This so reminds me of my grandmother's home in Mississippi. And she lived in a very rural part of that state. And so my childhood was often spent there with her. And she had, a beautiful garden, an herb garden, a, vegetable garden. It was just amazing. And every day I got to help her with it. But I was a city girl. It was an interesting experience, but a memorable experience for me to be able to spend time with her in the summers growing up. We have Ace of Earth. Here's Ace of Earth. Let's look at it. So Joanna Powell Colbert created the Gaian Tarot, which is what this deck is from, or this card is from this deck. Can't talk right now. So, and then of course you have the Ace of Pentacles here, the traditional Smith-Waite. And so you can see visually with this beautiful fawn from the Gaian Tarot, how this is about the new beginnings that are happening in our earthly matters, right? And like I said, I'm gonna move on, show you Two of Earth. Here's Two of Earth. This is witch hazel. I actually really enjoy witch hazel. Again, this is something that reminds me of my grandmother because she always had witch hazel on her dresser. And now I have it back in there on the shelf over there. I have some. And yeah, so I could think of all these different things and uses for witch hazel. And also my understanding of the traditional Two of Earth. And then we have the Gaian Two of Earth. I just adore the Gaian Tarot too. Oh my God. It's helping me to fall deeply in love with the Herbcrafter's Tarot. But yeah, so that is the Two of Earth. So now we are going to move to our last card of the Aces, Twos, and Threes. And that is the Three of Earth, and that's raspberries. Oh my goodness, raspberries. And then I'll show you the traditional Smith-Waite, Three of Pentacles, but Three of Earth. And here is the Gaian. Collaboration, working together. You have the threes. And raspberries, I didn't even realize was an herb per se. Like I should have, I have the herbal tea, so duh, like raspberry herbal tea. But I just consumed them. They taste so good. They just, I don't know, like I just ate them. And I love the vibrant color and the flavor, the little bitterness that they may have, but they work so well in smoothies for me. So that's what I know about raspberries. Didn't That's okay. I don't have to know all of the ins and outs. I do know that, is it recommended or is it, yeah, was it raspberries? Something to do with when you're, it's the reproductive organs, helps you with your reproductive organs, or with the pregnancy, you can drink raspberry tea, I believe. Please, I'm not a doctor, so don't take any medical advice from me. I'm just speaking off the top of my memory, and it could be wrong. So, and I'm looking at the traditional, we know, like, we have this teamwork, collaboration, working together. Sometimes this could represent, downloading from spirit, this manifestation, and us, doing the work, and then the creation is the three. So that's sometimes how I can interpret that. We have a partnership of three, collaborating, working together, coming together to create something physical and tangible. Let us look at the three of earth. I turn right there to raspberry. So first key phrase is fill your basket with companionship and collaboration. Number 2, nourish your body. Like I said, I just love the way they taste, and I just can consume so many and feel so good by doing so. Number 3, savor simple pleasures. I love that. So let's see. So we have, I'm just going to read here at the top. Let's see. Baskets of juicy red berries sit on the grass on a bright summer day. 2 rows of raspberries extend down a clover-filled path toward the foothills of a verdant mountain. The bushes overflow with flowers and fruit. The ripe ones come easily. Cedar trees line the boundary of the land. The sky shines blue with small puffy white clouds. So she really goes into full depth of what's going on in this image here. And I'm just going to read some sentences from the description, the meaning of this card. Company brings joy to hard work. You have a responsibility to tend the abundance you have been given. There is much to do with fruitful raspberry. Jellies, yum. Pies, syrups, vinegars, yum. Baskets and medicine. Teamwork multiplies productivity. Invite others to join you. Trust your leadership and organizing skills. Approach people with clear expectations and agreements. As first-year raspberry canes create the foundation for second-year canes to fruit, create value for generations to come. Together with your community, you can build a strong legacy. Listen to this. Raspberry tea, rich with minerals, tones weakened tissues and energizes the body. You are competent and up to the task, but keep yourself strong. Also, raspberries are just plain delicious. Didn't I say that? Isn't that funny? And I didn't even read that. This is like me literally reconnecting. You're witnessing me reconnecting with this deck. I didn't even really probably go into depth with this guidebook until now, right? And it says here, remember to enjoy the sweetness of life. Crafting with the three of earth. Number 1. Take a class in your community to learn how to weave a basket with raspberry canes. Number 2, make raspberry leaf tea to nourish and delight your body. I love raspberry tea. Number 3, harvest ruby red raspberries at the peak of summer. Make jam with friends and enjoy it all year. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing that my grandmother would do. She, I know there's canning. She definitely did that. But is that the same when you're doing that, like canning, like peaches and raspberries and such? I forgot, but it's in jars, but not necessarily cans, but it had the little can lids. Sorry, I can't remember, but that's what she would do. And that was something I also remember from my childhood that I just love so much. And there's such a nostalgic element to the Herbcrafter's Tarot that was the reason why I was called to get it. I just knew that it would remind me of like a time from my childhood that's sweet and sacred to me, that was forgotten for a long time. And that's why I desperately wanted to make a connection with this deck and why I kept at it, because there's some decks I'm like, it's just never going to happen, this connection, and I can pass it on or let it sit on my shelf. But this one I was like, no, I need to work with this one some more. And I'm so glad I did. So that's it, folks. We are now going to move. The next video is going to be the 4, 5s, and 6s, similar fashion. And yeah, let me know what you think of the cards in the comments below. I love hearing from you. I love when you all share amongst each other and with me about different things you know about the card meaning or different resources. It's super helpful, and that's what Tarot Study Group is all about. So thank you so much for joining me, and thank you all for participating, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.